So moved.
Second.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on that? Comments, additions, solutions?
Yeah.
Direction?
My neighbor's spelled most of the way through there, but occasionally right.
Okay, well,
It's okay.
I answered the hell, all right? I did. Well, that's why.
So,
it's friendly amendment, it's right. Sounds good.
And Chair, I want to recognize that Mayor Morrison has arrived.
Thank you. If you want to round it in here. Everybody in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Abstentions. Okay, that passes that. Pretty easy part. So item number 3 is proposed changes to the rules and regulations of the city selection committee to provide a process for appointments to the air pollution control board when there is a tie. We have some speakerships on that.
We do. Chairman, I just want to know, it's included in your agenda packet and posted online for the public, proposed amendments to the rules and regulations for the city selection committee to provide a process for appointments to the air pollution control district on a tie vote. So to address the potential of another tie vote, staff is proposing amendments to the rules and regulations that allow the full city selection committee to vote to resolve a tie. The proposed revisions will only apply to the APC's appointments. The proposed amendments revise section 4.5.e, page 6 of the rules. There are also a few suggested changes on page 7 of the rules to make the language gender neutral. We have 5 requests to speak on this item. So we'll go ahead and hear from the individuals that requested to speak on this item. I'd like to invite forward, I'll call the first speaker, Jack Munger. You'll have 3 minutes to address the community.
Good morning, Mayors. I think I'm Jack Munger. I'm with the Industrial Environmental Association, but really representing myself here this morning as a resident of a small city in San Diego County. I would like to offer support for staff's recommendation. It seems that looking to this body to select, be a tiebreaker in that process would be the most fair because it does have a variety of representation from small cities in the county. To put it into have the tiebreaker be determined by the largest city, as has been suggested, I think is an alternative within that specific district, would be tantamount to a weighted vote. Weighted votes never seem to work in the favor of smaller cities. So I think this staff's recommendation is the best way to go, and we respectfully encourage your support for that. Thank you.
Here, like Charles, really?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charles Riley. I'm here on behalf of the Sierra Club San Diego. We have over 13,000 members, 20,000 supporters here in San Diego County. I'm here in opposition to the proposed change for the Air Pollution Control District Governing Board recommendations. Reason being that under Section E, it states that the nomination and selection of APC board members should be done by the subcommittee for that district. I believe that by changing the rules in the middle of the process, you're taking away the opportunity for the District 3 representatives to choose their own representative for the Air Pollution Control District. After the subcommittee failed to reach consensus in the January meeting, the City Selection Committee now is trying to change the rules and allow for all members to break the tie, taking away the rights of D3 representatives from selecting their own candidate. This change of procedure, very clearly written to benefit the City Selection Committee during this singular issue, specifically stating that this should only occur after 2 tie votes, is one that should not be taken lightly. This new procedure was clearly written to benefit the fact that the D3 representatives are failing to come to an agreement, but by changing the procedure in the middle of the process, not only is the City Selection Committee failing to give the D3 representatives their right to select their own candidate, but it is bending the rules for one specific situation. I don't think this is the correct path forward. Changing the rules in the middle of the process is unfair and cannot be given or voted on until after the full APC governing board is selected. Only the D3 subcommittee should continue voting on this representative, something that acting chair Lawson Reamer agrees with. This process is being changed to deal with one given situation. When a governing board starts to change their rules in the middle of the process, it loses their credibility and opens up an opportunity for rule changes every single time there is an issue. This will take away the rights of D3 representatives, like I said before. And this should only be decided by the D3 representatives who will get to choose their own representative in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to report Michael Keaton.
Good morning. My name is Michael King, and I'm also a conservation organizer with the Sierra Club of San Diego. And I specifically represent the North County and coastal regions. And I'm here on behalf of our hundreds of members in District 3 who live in Del Mar, Encinitas, Solana Beach, and Carlsbad. I'm here to express our concerns that changing the rules of selection for this body midway through the process undermines the integrity of the outcome, particularly when the current proposal for breaking of a tie makes the leaders of other cities the determining factor in who represents the residents of District 3 at the APCD. If this decision were being made before or after the current selection process began, it would be one thing. But it is hard not to interpret this current move to break the impasse as a maneuver to affect the outcome. We've done the math, and it regrettably appears that this rules change is not a vote for an impartial process on the merits of the current candidates, both of whom are excellent, but a move to circumvent the process altogether. We strongly encourage you to keep the current rules and ask that our District 3 representatives to negotiate among yourselves until a consensus can be reached on which candidate from District 3 can best fill this role. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Anthony Dang.
Good morning, City Selection Committee. My name is Anthony Day, and I'm a policy advocate at Climate Action Campaign. One of our missions is to collaboratively build a cleaner, healthier future by tackling air pollution in our region. Regarding the Air Pollution Control District Governing Board, we strongly oppose opening up the vote to the full City Selection Committee when breaking ties. But doing so would undermine the autonomy of the District 3 cities, subjecting local decisions to those who may not have the same level of understanding or connection to the issues that uniquely affect their region. If a tie occurs among the cities in County District 3 for the APC board seat, we believe that matters should remain within the hands of the 6 cities directly involved. Every other APC board seat has been determined through a process that respects local decision-making, and District 3 should have the same privilege. Opening the vote to the full committee would set a concerning precedent, potentially undermining local self-determination of everyone on this committee whenever a tie occurs. As an alternative, we propose implementing a weighted vote system in the event of a tie in District 3 in San Diego. The largest population and most residents impacted by the decision could break the tie. We believe this approach would be more equitable and respectful to the needs and voices of the region's residents. Thank you for considering these options.
Thank you. I'd like to invite our final speaker, Nicholas Paul.
Good morning, Bears. My name is Nicolas Paul. I am an air quality policy advocate with the Environmental Health Coalition. I'm here in opposition to the proposed tie-breaking framework put forward today. For those of you that don't know, the Environmental Health Coalition has been working and the Portside community throughout San Diego to put forward and fight for environmental justice in the region for over 45 years now. The role of APCD is very, very important through regulation and enforcement measures, through permitting as well. This agency has the ability to drastically improve air quality and community health in our region. And we think it's of utmost importance to make sure that the decisions for the District 3 representative is done in the most thoughtful way possible. For the record, the Environmental Health Coalition did put forward a letter that I don't think made it onto the packet materials that you all were given today, but it is on the website. There is a proposed framework that we did put forward that would allow cities with the largest population, cities with the most community members that would be impacted by air quality policies, to have decision-making authority in breaking the tie. We think that's the most rational and equitable solution. Again, people, mayors, representatives from communities that would have most impact from air quality policy should have the ability to break decisions when there is an impasse vote. And so again, we think that the process that's being put forward now is the wrong approach. And we highly recommend that this body reject the proposed framework. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chairman, can I request public comment consent?
Thank you.
Excuse me, there was a request to speak submitted for, maybe I wrote the wrong number down.
I just wrote your name down. Amy Fawcett.
Yes.
Should be about three. Thank you.
I am, okay. My name is Amy Fawcett. I'm here representing the San Diego Working Waterfront, and we are in support of the proposed policy change in order to break the tie. This is only the second time you all have had to do this. This is a very new process for our local APCD. And I don't think it was considered that there would be an even number of cities within the supervisory district that could end up with a tie, which is why you all know we can have odd numbers. I think that we believe that this is a very good way of handling this situation going forward. It keeps it simple for an already complicated process for appointing to the APCD board. And further, when it comes to weighted votes, I think you all are very familiar with how that has happened throughout the region, and that it does put smaller cities at a disadvantage. So we encourage you to support in favor of the proposed policy change.
Thank you, Chairman. Can I request public comment?
Thank you. Did I miss anybody else? Okay, comments from the committee? We're just gonna, I'm going to go down. Wherever
you like, Chair.
Rebecca.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to just say that with LAFCO, we already are voting with the full committee. I'm in support of the change. I always had an issue with a weighted vote, essentially. And to be honest, air quality and pollution does not end at borders. It affects every single one of us. So for us to be able to have our voices heard, I believe that a full vote of the board would be the way to go in the event of a tie. So those are my comments. Thank you, Chair.
I agree with the statements that this should be kept and contained with the communities that are affected in that supervisorial district. I think that's what the rules were intended for. And I would propose a coin toss to decide it, because I think that's the most equitable way. And because of the timing of this, your comments are well taken, that the timing of this comes when we are kind of at a stalemate, and it may look that this is a maneuver to try and impact the vote one way or the other. And I think a coin toss is probably the only method to avoid that interpretation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to own every bit of this being on your agenda. My colleagues may or may not know that when I was a state legislator, I authored Assembly Bill 423 in 2019 that reformed how the Air Pollution Control District was governed. For those of you who don't know, previously it was essentially a committee of the County Board of Supervisors, 5 folks making the decisions on behalf of the entire county. There were a lot of inequities and challenges that came with that, and we reformed it to create the body that you see today. When I was authoring that bill 6-7 years ago, I couldn't imagine there'd be a competition to actually serve on the committee. I would also point out, maybe in my defense, in 2019, we made these changes. In 2021, we had redistricting, and that changed the composition of supervisorial District 3, which brings us to where we are today. Of course, we have a vacancy in one of our member cities, vacancy on the Board of Supervisors. There's a host of things that have challenged and made this a very unique circumstance. I want to be explicitly clear with this body, with the public, the intent behind Assembly Bill 423 was to empower localities to have a voice in this process. And I would just point out, this is having the intended effect. With all due respect to the incredible team that we have in the Air Pollution Control District, my memory of this agency prior to Assembly Bill 423 was that they pass out free electric lawnmowers to suburban residents all over the county. Fast forward to today, what you see is Paula and her team are distributing air purifying systems to South County communities that are impacted by the Tijuana River Valley. This body is far more responsive to the real and everyday concerns of people in this county, and the changes are evident, and I think they're generally extremely positive. This is a problem. It needs to be addressed. I will share with this committee that regardless of what may happen today, the state legislature is aware of this issue. And Assemblymember Alvarez is intending to offer legislation to address this, and to amend this, as well as other things. You know, no bill, as every legislator around this table knows, nothing is perfect on day one. All of them have challenges, and the ability to go back and make modifications, I think, is what we're intending, what Assemblymember Alvarez is intending to do. I certainly will be working with him, urge other folks who have an interest in the composition of this board to share. So I would not be supportive of making a change today. I think we can figure this out, and I'm hopeful that we can. I also would have preferred to have item 4 on the agenda done first to determine whether or not it's in fact still an issue. We've been apart for several months. People have had opportunities to talk to one another. I note that at least one of the cities voting in this contest is not here today. I think there's a lot of reasons to not make a modification today. Try and seek someone if we can. And then work with the legislature to get the desired result of members of the public on both sides who I'm sure will have input. So I want to share that bit of history. Thank you for letting me share that. Thank you for letting me own how we came here today. While today is a little bit inconvenient, maybe a little bit awkward, I do want to point out that the intended effects are happening. Paul and her team are way more responsive to the public. And I see that every time we have a chance to meet. So Paula, thank you to you and your folks. Hopefully we can get your full board and light team to work. Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you. I wasn't gonna point out your fault.
I would argue the petitioning committee had that handed.
That's
Thank you very much. And I am concerned that we have in fact, one of the candidates who is out there for this district, that city of Carlsbad is not present today. And I know that the representative there, I understand that the representative for this is Teresa Costa, and she had a longstanding meeting. She is actually representing us at the national level for National League of Cities. And so I really feel very strongly that we need to have her here. We need to have a representative from Carlsbad here. Have a fire? No.
Oh, there we go.
That was just that.
But no, I do feel that very strongly that this is an opportunity for local for our county to be able to address the residents in our county to be able to address these issues at the local level. And so it really ought to be something that is decided within. One of those rules, in fact, here is that you can't vote on the selection if you are not a member, right? So that's a very, very strong policy that we ought to honor. I agree with Mayor Gloria. If in fact this is going to be fixed, this was created by Sacramento, it should be addressed by Sacramento. It sounds like it's happening, hopefully shortly. And perhaps this can also, time has passed. I believe there might be a resolution already. But not having Councilmember Acosta here is a problem. And I wouldn't want things to be decided for our area if one of the cities is not able to be present. So,
I'm gonna go ahead and let John respond since he's had it.
Thank you. So first of all, this is the CSC meeting, right? It was properly noticed. Who goes to CSC first? Mayors. Is there some reason the mayor of Carlsbad can't be here to address this issue? We all have longstanding issues and commitments. I have 2 things I moved in order to be here today. So is the proposition that we shouldn't vote on anything today because I found out 50 seconds ago that the city didn't come as a council member and that the mayor also chose not to come? Why isn't the mayor here? I mean, if we want to avoid this, we can call for a sub-region vote right now and see if there's a tie.
Thank you.
the representative is not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, by their own choosing.
Okay, hold on.
We'll spoke after that. I'm sorry.
As a smaller city, I really believe that local decision-making is very, very important. And I find that the proposal that has been presented would dilute my vote so much so that it would not be a proper use of the intention of this particular longstanding law. I really do believe that 1 out of 6 is a much better proposition than 1 out of 18. And I would much prefer to see that be the case, if we were to go there. I do think that there is an idea on the floor that what we do is we wait for a solution. And I also believe that it's wrong to have one of the candidates not be able to be here for a long-standing national gig that she's got representing all of us. And she, she can't control what the other people on her council are doing, what their schedule is. But I think that what we should do is she was not consulted about this date. I think that what would be the proper thing to do would be to wait and take the vote on the APCT thing at the next selection committee meeting so that we can have all of the representatives who are able to vote. In terms of this tiebreaker, I personally don't think that it is the proper way that we should go because it takes the decision-making out of our local hands. We are each very different. The intent of that legislation was to make sure that each of our unique districts had representation, and that would take it away from us. So I'm in favor of not doing the vote on APCD and also waiting for the legislature to particularly have solved this. If we wait for the vote to be taken on APCD, we may find that we don't have a tie anymore.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the recommendation made by staff that the full committee vote to break any ties in sub-region districts.
Who was the second? Any further comments or questions?
I'm going to make a final comment.
Yeah.
With all due respect to everyone here, it is representation within your district is so critical. I feel that it is a constitutional issue. It rises to that. And to have, with all due respect, and I do admire everybody here, and we're all very, very passionate. But to me, there has to be, the solution has to be based on, within the district, absolutely within the district. There has been a suggestion that the largest city be that decision maker, be that tiebreaker. It seems like it's only for the APCD, that's it. It just wouldn't be fair to have the decision of who truly are representing the interest of the district be decided by someone outside of the district or by votes outside of the district. It has to be within the district. That is I believe it rises to a constitutional level. So I would prefer the other weighted vote. I know that's such a horrible, horrible thing, but you know what? This is weighted even more against the residents of that district, even more. It's times 10. I would really like to see us make sure that we proceed in a fair, in a respectful way. And I think that not having, we need to have Mayor Acosta, elevating her here, Councilmember Acosta here. She wanted to be here. Unfortunately, we had that long-standing meeting. So I think that it would solve our issues here in a way that is respectful to everyone.
Hold on a second. Bruce first.
Yeah. So, what we're trying to do is fix this tie, right? We have a situation where we have a structural potential for a tie. We need it fixed. And I look at a coin flip that's been presented, that doesn't represent anybody and that's random. Giving it to the largest city is pretty much a guarantee. That's not a coin flip. You want to protect our rights in voting, especially the small cities, then the way to do it is to have all the small cities have an equal vote and raise it. All we're talking about is the tie. So I still support the proposal as written. Because I think it most representative. That tie breaking that we have to address, we should address it as a board. the CSC is the group making this decision, but I still support where we're going, the motion on the table.
I support the motion on the table, and I want to lay out why. So Del Mar is the tiniest city in our district, and yet we share air and we share water with every other city in our district. The water in our groundwater comes from the east. The water in our ocean, we know, comes both from the north and the south. And the air mixes with the wind, whether it's a Santa Ana or it's an onshore from the ocean. It is right that we all participate in the decision when the local district is unable to break a tie. Thank you.
I wanna just state that I think, and I hear everybody's point of view, but as a small city representative as well, I just don't think fundamentally it's right to have the entire group decide for that particular district. That particular district should be the one deciding and have a voice. Despite us sharing water and air and coast and geography. That's the ethos of why this was established by this. Full stop period. So I do not support the motion on the floor. I would hope that we could give the representative an opportunity to be present and vote in what will affect the district themselves. Has nothing to do with what I think about and as far as the qualities and expertise of the two proposed candidates. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. So with all due respect, we have 18 cities, 17 of them were able to be here today on this issue, on a meeting that was called for specifically this issue. This was the only issue we had to decide today. There's absolutely no reason that Carlsbad is not represented here today. They have a mayor who is the first person to be here. If Teresa Costa was the designated next person, so be it. They have other council members to choose from. To say that we should delay this, that really is trying to put the thumb on the process and trying to change what actually happens. We have a meeting, we're all here. We're going to delay this again. With all due respect, what is bad for my district and all the other cities in this district is to not have a rep on APCD. Let's just not have a rep. Let's just have it stay at high. But that's not like a good thing for the citizens of our communities. No, for me, the citizens of our communities are represented. The only attempt to put a thumb on the scale of this is a lot of back channeling and pressure that's been put on various city councils, which I find to be very disturbing. People could just come and apply for a position and put it on their own merits. We are appointed to CSC by state law, not by our city councils. We are not removable by our city council. We're not Sandag, where local cities and smaller cities and large cities too have had their mayors removed from Sandag by their city council. And of course, have the weighted vote as opposed to give it overweight to San Diego City and county, which really kind of appears to me what's trying to be happening here again as well, and obviously political reasons. But in any event, CSC mayors are appointed by state law. They have their vote. They have the right to vote. It was a duly called meeting. With all due respect, I think we should vote on this and move forward with this one agenda.
I call for the question.
Mayor Minto. Mayor Minto.
Well,
I have my head up at the same time she called it, so I have a very quick thing to say.
okay, well,
Perhaps we can wait till 11:45 when the representative from Carlsbad will be here for the League of California Cities. She will not be here at this particular time due to a resident meeting. Priya Bapatal will be in this location.
unfortunately, we don't have a letter from the mayor designating her as the alternate.
Also have to read that.
Here, I'm gonna call for the question, but I wanted to make one quick statement too. And that is that, I am in favor of the motion. And the reason why I am is because of suffering through several years of the weighted vote at Sandag. We all learned how, divisive that can be, how angry people can be. And I get folks wanting to make sure that everything takes place within the district. And that's what we have this designed for. Unfortunately, when it becomes a tie, you have to break it. The only other way we would do it is if we were, two elected officials, they're in a tie. How do they do that? They draw from a hat or they toss a coin. And I've always thought that was about the dumbest way of doing it you could ever do it. No offense. But for a long time, I've thought that. So I am going to call for the question. I'm going to ask Andrew to call the roll for votes.
For Chula Vista, Mayor McKinney.
Aye.
Coronado, Mayor Duncan.
Aye.
Del Mar, Mayor Gastelum.
Aye.
El Cajon, Mayor Wells.
Aye.
Encinitas, Mayor Ellers.
Aye.
Escondido, Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Imperial Beach, Mayor Aguirre.
No.
La Mesa, Mayor Rivera Costadas. Lemon Grove, Mayor Snow.
No.
National City, Mayor Morrison.
Aye.
Oceanside, Mayor Sanchez.
Nay.
Highway, Mayor Voss.
Aye.
San Diego, Mayor Gloria.
No.
San Marcos, Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Santee, Mayor Minto.
Aye.
Solana Beach, Mayor Hebner.
No.
And Vista, Mayor Franklin.
Aye.
That motion passes with 12 aye votes and 5 no votes.
Thank you. Now we actually get to the. And that's item number 4. Which is to appoint a city council member from supervisional district 3 to the air pollution control district governing board. We have speakers on that.
Thank you, Chairman. So we have 9 requests to speak on this item. I'm going to call you as I receive your speaker slips. You can have 3 minutes to address the committee. I'd like to first invite for Jack Munger.
Thank you, Mayor Menzel and mayors of San Diego County. Jack Munger again with the Industrial Environmental Association, but again, speaking more on my, for my own purposes. I am a resident of Coronado and I couldn't support more what Mayor Todd Gloria just said about the momentum that this district has developed and carried forward here in just the last 4 years. I've been intimately involved in a variety of committees and working groups with them. It's fantastic. And part of that, if you really want to see that continue, I think it's absolutely essential to have a representative serving on the governing board who is from one of the 2 most affected cities in San Diego County from the border sewage, and that specifically would be Imperial Beach or Coronado. We don't have a chance for Imperial Beach at this stage, but we do have a chance to have Coronado, and not only for issues going forward, but because Mayor Duncan has been involved in this issue for the last 2 years, more so even, and has played an integral part in advocating in Washington, D.C. and advocating with other mayors and other constituencies in San Diego County. And if we really want to see that progress continue forward, if we really want to see the work that the Air District staff has done carried forward, I think it's essential to have that representation from someone who has already demonstrated their credibility and capability. So with that, I would urge your support for Mayor Duncan for this bill.
Okay, before we go on with that, the meeting was not called to break a tie, actually. It was for nominations. So we probably should take nominations from the floor for members of the APCD for that district. And then everyone from the audience might know who they're actually talking about, because if it turns out that John doesn't get it or Teresa doesn't get it again, then it makes some of the comments, so.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Mayor John Duncan.
Second.
Second by, was that Rebecca?
Does that have to be from the
From the district.
Oh, from the district.
Yeah, so I'll make the motion.
Oh, so you just made it second.
Sorry,
Oh,
I keep thinking
from the
these things.
district.
From the.
First, second.
Yeah.
You don't need a second.
Yeah, that's true.
John's from.
Sorry.
Okay, is there any other nominations from the floor?
I nominate,
There is no second.
So you stalled vote. So, okay then, are there any other nominations from the floor? Not hearing any, then we will close, the nominations. And we will take speakers, and you already have your turn back. Thank you.
I do back for the politics.
Hi, guys. Paul Forbes, I'm the Air Pollution Control Officer for San Diego County, and I have to say, it is great to see the level of interest in our board of members to make that's been going on. Not something that we anticipated, but it's a real pleasure to work for the board and not to speak in favor of either candidate, but just to let you know that I'm available for questions if there are any that come up. We have a terrific team of 170 professionals that's working every day for clean air for all of San Diego County. So again, we appreciate the vigor and the interest from stakeholders and the interest of this group of esteemed mayors. So thank you.
Okay, I'd like to back for Amy Stewart.
Good morning. I'm Amy Stewart. I am a newly elected city council member in Coronado. I'm also as founder and former president of Emerald Keepers, a Coronado local nonprofit focused on sustainability. I've worked with Sean on several environmental air quality initiatives over the past 2 years. John and I worked together to reduce air pollution from wood and coal fires on the beaches in Coronado in front of the Shores condominium. John filed the policy too, which put this on the agenda in Coronado and pushed it through. He also filed a policy too to place electric mini mobility shuttles on the agenda as a pilot program that was very successful. It reduced carbon emissions, traffic, and parking issues in Coronado with over 10,000 rides a month. This was incredible, really a huge help to our city. John and I are currently working together to bring the shuttles back to Coronado as quickly as possible. John also worked with Emerald Keepers to reduce single-use plastics, and together on the council, we passed the most comprehensive single-use plastic reduction ordinance in San Diego County. Last week, we worked together on the resolution to declare a local emergency in the city of Coronado due to the impacts of cross-border water pollution. All of these actions help improve air quality, not just for Coronado, but for all of San Diego. As you know, Coronado is home to an air base. We have lots of aircraft carriers. To the south, we have another air base across the bay, of course, shipbuilding as well. And of course, along the ocean, we have aerosol sewage. So I've met with Teresa Costa. I like her very much. But John has gone the extra mile to address air quality and other environmental issues. With the cross-border sewage and air quality issues associated with this emergency, having someone from Coronado, the second most impacted city, who's also very environmentally minded and laser focused on air quality is what we need. And so I urge you to support John Duncan for this position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to back for Amy Fawcett.
Amy Fawcett, I'm here representing San Diego Working Waterfront, and we support the appointment of Mayor John Duncan to the APCD Governing Board. I'm not going to repeat what the council member said, and I think that she says it all, but I also think that he's also been recognized by our local congressional leaders for being a part of that coalition that secured $250 million just recently for the biggest issue that we all are facing, and which is the Tijuana River. And so we support John, and we support you all supporting him as appointing him to the APCD Governing Board.
I'd like for Charles Greeley.
Mayors, as I said before, my name is Charles Riley, and I'm a conservation organizer of the San Diego chapter of the Sierra Club, representing over 13,000 members, over 28,000 supporters. Both candidates are incredible candidates, and the Tijuana River is something that the Sierra Club has been fighting hard and is of the utmost importance for the future of the Air Pollution Control District. But we are here to urge the City Selection Committee to support that SI Costa of Carlsbad for the Air Pollution Control District, Supervisor District 3. Throughout San Diego, we're facing unprecedented challenges with air quality, including the Tijuana River, expansion of warehouses, ozone layer depletion, air toxic hotspots, vehicle and airplane pollution, and so much more. We are confident, and we've got assurances that the Carlsbad City Councilmember Teresa Acosta has the qualifications and the experience to fight for cleaner and healthier communities throughout all of San Diego County. We are confident that she will work tirelessly towards a comprehensive solution to the Tijuana River pollution crisis, along with fighting for clean air on all of those air quality issues that I have mentioned. The APCD is critical to our region's efforts to build healthier, safer communities. San Diego County continues to attract new warehouses from Oceanside to Oceanside Mesa that emit large amounts of pollution. As a consultant to the South Coast Air Quality Management District, Teresa has firsthand knowledge of the successes and challenges that our air pollution control districts face, and includes and also understands the ways to regulate emitters of toxic pollution that is deadly to our communities. This gives her a unique perspective and knowledge to hit the ground running and deliver results for our region. We need an air quality champion appointed to fight for healthy communities, for clean air, and to bring results for our region. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite forward Michael King.
Again, as I said before, my name is Michael King, and I'm also a conservation organizer focused on the North County of San Diego. Teresa Acosta has a proven track record as a champion of clean air and health. As a Carlsbad City Council member, she has been responsive to her constituents' needs, detailed in her pursuit of solutions, and collaborative in her work to improve lives and protect our communities from ecological degradation and pollution. I had the pleasure of seeing Teresa Acosta in action as she navigated difficult environmental issues regarding Carlsbad's climate action plan. Her ability to follow the data, ask the questions, and look at issues in a balanced and analytical way are indispensable assets that she would bring to the APCD. A clear-eyed look at what the role requires and what Teresa Acosta brings to the table leaves no doubt regarding her qualifications to deal not just with some, but all issues that come before the board. With the federal government rolling back protections for clean air and toxic emissions, there is no room for error when it comes to safeguarding the safety and livability of our communities. While we believe that Teresa is the experienced and excellent choice to represent District 3 of the APCD, I look forward to working with the board in the future regardless of this outcome. But we strongly support for Teresa Acosta.
My name is Anthony Zhang. I'm a policy advocate with an action campaign. Speaking in support of Teresa Acosta, our team has had the privilege of collaborating with dedicated staff and board members at the Air Pollution Control District over the past year. Together, we help secure public and political support for the ultra-low NOx furnaces rule, which is projected to generate 13.1 million annually in economic benefits through avoided healthcare costs and increased productivity. This success highlights the critical importance of the APCD and the value of having experienced clean air advocates on the governing board. This is why we are proud to support Carlsbad Councilmember Teresa Acosta. I've witnessed firsthand Councilmember Acosta's unwavering commitment to her community's health and well-being in the city council meetings. She has consistently fought to protect her constituents from the harmful impacts of pollution. Teresa's dedication to public health is unmatched. Most notably, Teresa has spent the past 5 years serving as an air quality consultant for the South Coast Air Quality Management District. In this role, she has worked effectively with stakeholders of diverse values, conducted her own research and analysis, and advised the chair. This deep experience navigating the complexities of air quality agencies has equipped her with the expertise needed to drive meaningful change. With this background, Teresa is uniquely positioned to tackle pressing issues like the Tijuana River sewage crisis. She brings not only the technical expertise necessary to address this challenge, but also a collaborative spirit that will ensure the needs of all cities in V3 and our region are met. While her roots are in Carlsbad, Teresa is committed to working together to benefit the entire region. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'd like to invite forward Nicholas Howard.
Good morning, mayors. Again, Nicolas Paul with Environmental Health Coalition. Teresa Acosta is the most qualified candidate to fill this position. Again, her technical expertise as an air quality consultant makes her
gives her the ability to hit the ground running, to address all the issues that the Air Pollution Control District deals with on a daily basis. You know, a reflection that I was kind of thinking about as the other speakers before me, who dedicate their careers to improving air quality and advocating for policies to improve air quality throughout the county, is this, you know, I think that when we think about the role of APCD to address the issue that respectfully, Mayor Duncan has named the priority issue for his call to be in this position. The Air Pollution Control District's authority in that issue is relatively limited. You know, the APCD has been advocating to address the air pollution from the sewage issue. It's a secondary issue, right? And so I think there is a quote that has the ability to address not only the air pollution secondary issue of a sewage issue, but she also has the expertise and technical experience to address all the other issues that the Air Pollution Control District deals with. That includes things like addressing air toxic hotspot program, issues related to mobile source emissions, as well as other issues like welding and other types of emissions that are common throughout the region. And so again, I just wanted to vocalize our support for Vanessa Costa's position. Thank you.
Final speaker, just one.
Good morning, City Selection Committee, Justine Mayor, Executive Director of Public Affairs for the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce. We, alongside a coalition of industry partners, collaborated closely with elected leaders in the region to determine a slate of well-qualified, faculty individuals we respectfully recommend for appointment to the APCD Governing Board. We appreciate the actions that you took in January, carefully selecting the new board composition and leadership for the district. Over the past few years, the Chamber and our partners have engaged regularly with APCD. We feel that Mayor John Duncan is the best fit for this position. He has demonstrated not only in his role as a mayor, but as well as a council member, his leadership in the region. We heard from Amy, his support from Congressmember Peters, that just demonstrates his effectiveness as a leader. So we urge you to consider your support for John Duncan.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comments.
Okay, what I'd like to do is a comment from the representatives from the district before we go on to other. So Mayor Blackburn is not here. I'm gonna skip you to begin with.
One word of clarification, Mr. Chair. I'm just curious, it might help everyone's comments, particularly if they know, are we going to do a sub-region vote today or no sub-region vote and only a CSC vote?
This will be a sub-region vote today, and that's why I'm choosing those who are in that region to speak first, and then if we need to have more comment after that. Terry, do you have anything?
I do. So thank you to Amy Fawcett for reminding us that Scott Peters has recognized John Duncan for all of his efforts in so many ways toward air pollution quality in our region. I want to read from a commendation from Senator Steve Padilla. This is California State Senator. In recognition of your hard work and unwavering dedication to environmental justice across Senate District 18, your commitment to uplifting our community is commendable. Your efforts to improve the well-being of our region will have a long-lasting impact for future generations. On behalf of the California State Senate, I, Senator Stephen C. Padilla, am privileged to honor the essential role you have played in championing environmental justice for all. So I wanted to put together some concrete accomplishments of, and as I did my background checking, what I realized is that, you know, you can so I'm a computer scientist and I do a lot of simulations. You can put the data on the actual accomplishments of the nominees and turn that into the likelihood of future accomplishment. And John Duncan came out head and shoulders ahead in those Monte Carlo simulations, backing up what Steve Padilla has said and what Scott Peters has said. Thank you. I have a point of order.
Sure.
Mr. Chair.
I had the opportunity to view a meeting of the council for Del Mar on the issue of who Del Mar would be supporting. Should there be another vote for the APCD representative, District 3? My understanding is that the board, the city attorney for Del Mar has indicated that because it was a tie, she is not able to vote today, and I think that if you are not able to vote, shouldn't be participating in the conversations. So I appreciate the comments. If you make similar comments in the last meeting, and that was of course before that vote, but I do understand that Mayor Gastilan, serving at the pleasure of the council because it's a rotation, you've been advised you are not participating in this vote.
Quite the opposite, actually. I asked in that meeting for written opinion from our attorney. And what I got was our council policy and expectations. And it's very clear that if there is an approved position, and that's an if, then the mayor represents that position. The vote that was taken was a motion to support Teresa Acosta. It came out 2-2. So the support for Teresa Acosta failed. I am here and I am representing the city as best I can today. Thank you.
I
Hold on here a second, because I'm gonna rule on that. You know, the way I'm gonna rule this is that, the city attorney can give the best advice possible to, the representative. It's up to the representative really to, choose to accept that advice of the attorney. If they choose not to, then that's between them, the city council and the attorney. But we have an obligation today here to hear from people that are affected and that do have a voice. And the mayors here do have an opportunity to speak. And so I'm going to allow them to speak to the issues.
Might end up report.
Well, then
We're going to be talking about this. Can I speak to it? Or
Well,
are we setting a running conversation?
what we do is I'm
Yeah,
going
just on the district, I thought that was the original point of order. It's mine, is we have the district.
then I'm gonna go to Bruce.
So first of all, I'm here appointed by state law, as I think John said earlier. So I don't think it even matters what the council would say. Quite frankly, if the majority say, no, you can't go vote, you can go vote, right? Because it's not their purview. So I think you're perfectly within your right to vote. I also am within my right. I'll go back to what I said last time, reiterate it. I'm a past performance predicts future performance. I see John has been, we have a saying at work, GSP, get shit done. That's what he's doing. And I really appreciate that. Quite frankly, it tells me a lot that Teresa is busy enough. And again, no disrespect to Teresa, both are very qualified, but she's busy. She's got other stuff to do. He'd be in Washington if he had to be for this issue. He has been in Washington. Past performance predicts future performance. I'm still with John.
Okay, then I'm going to go to Don. You have something?
Sure, I don't know, I go last time, that's based on performance and experience. I point out for my colleagues in District 3, that Councilmember Foster has served in public office for longer. She's an expert in air quality. This is the work that she does. Many of you are challenged by having outside employment along with your public service. And I admire every single one of you doing that. Tough balance. It happens to be that Councilmember Costa works on this issue professionally. So with no disrespect to my colleague from Coronado, when presented with these two options, I'm going with the person that has a subject matter expertise with longer time in service. I think that's the right way to make these kinds of decisions. I encourage my colleagues to vote for me.
Yes, I think Mayor Gloria said exactly what I was going to say, and that is that this is her professional role, Teresa Costa. She knows this, that this is in many ways, I heard one of the Del Mar County members say this is an HR issue. She is the most qualified for the position. If you were doing this in a private company and she was the most qualified, it's the one whose day job was, it is very fit. And again, no disrespect to my colleague Mayor Duncan, I like him very much. As far as the issue with Mayor Gastilan, I think it would be the honorable thing to comply with what your city attorney said and to not vote on this item. that is what your city council worked with, and I can see that your council is giving you, over there some advice. But, I would wish that you would do the honorable thing and not vote on this issue.
So as I said, I asked for a written opinion and I got it.
And you have written opinion that was received by the clerk, and I see your assistant city manager, Clem, is here as well, who can convey the very issue that your council voted on.
Thank you very much. I'll be brief. I do have to say, I find it quite hypocritical to say that we want to include all the voters in the district and have them decide, and then try to silence the mayor of Del Mar as well as not allow her to vote. That doesn't seem very equitable, nor inclusive. I won't, that's an experience issue. I've been doing advocacy for 30 years as an attorney in federal court, licensed practice law in California. You can see been incredibly effective in my advocacy. But since you bring up experience, I wasn't going to make this point earlier, but I will make it now. I find it potentially a conflict of interest to be paid to represent and advise another county on air pollution control issues, while also serving on the board of another county in that same role. I certainly wouldn't accept, though I'd be very qualified and experienced to do an excellent job. I wouldn't accept a job as the city manager of Salon Beach while serving in mayor or not. That's just something that whether it's an actual conflict or an appearance of conflict is a concern for me. I'm part of the other candidate. Finally, I would just say, again, the basis for every mayor here, your power, your local control that you have today voting, derives from state law, which gives you a position on CSC. It does not derive from your city council. Your city council cannot remove you from this position. You should use your own discretion. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, hold on, Don, because I'm gonna leave everything within the sub-region before we go on with anybody else. And so, we have a motion, we have nomination. And so what I would ask Andrew to do today, or now, is to call the roll for the vote on those nominations.
Mayor Duncan.
I vote for Duncan.
Del Mar Mayor Gaston.
I vote for Duncan.
Encinitas Mayor Ellers.
John Duncan.
And San Diego Mayor Gloria.
Teresa Costa.
And Solana Beach Mayor Huber.
Teresa Costa.
The motion with 3 votes for Mayor Duncan passes.
Thank you. And the reason why I did it like this, first of all, I want to make sure everything stayed in the district, because I heard what was being said from each of the people that testified to allow it to happen. There was nothing that could have stopped any of the members of that 3rd district from presenting a motion to table till another day. That didn't happen. And actually, I was, quite frankly, waiting for that. So that's why I went ahead and took the action today that we did. So thank you, and thank you everybody for the comments. This is a very difficult thing for us all to do, because we're all colleagues. I think we all like each other very much. Unfortunately, sometimes we get pitted against each other in a certain manner, and it's never comfortable. So we're going to go on to the next item. And we will be nominations for appointment to the California Coastal Commission. We found out today that appointments from the county will be held on April 8th. After they, that's just after they do the find out who's going to be on the board of supervisors. And so we will not be forwarding anything from the city selection committee in that. We have 1 nomination, and that was from Chula for Joe. And but we have to send 3. We have to send 3 nominations, and then they'll choose the governor will choose from those nominations. So what I'm willing to do, not sorry, speaker. For, making it too fast here. So what would be nice if you want to do this is that we could take nominations from the floor. If you have, somebody in your council that you would like to see or you know would like to do this, participate, that'd be great. And if you don't, you want more time to think about it, then we can come back in another meeting.
I'll make a motion to appoint, or nominate, Mayor Paloma here.
And this is not, district, group specific.
I will also, nominate, Councilmember Jose Preciado from.
I'll second that nomination.
Okay, so, and Rebecca?
I have a nomination of, County Supervisor Jim Desmond.
Okay, well, I've been notified they're gonna handle their own.
Okay.
Yeah, but thanks. Oh, okay, I misunderstood. Okay, so we have a nomination for Jim Desmond. Okay, we need one more city person.
I'm going to nominate myself.
Okay. Okay, so we do have three.
I'd like to nominate Mayor Terry Gotcha from Belmar.
Right.
There are close representatives interested in the nomination.
Slide back now.
We could volunteer.
It's so much fun. It's a real sport. Right. Jose. Okay, are there any other nominations for council or mayor? Okay, not hearing, I will close those nominations. And before we go on to supervisor though, then I'll go ahead and take a vote on the council members and mayors. And that way we make sure that there's no questions. And you say, so you're going to call that.
Thank you. So we have 4 nominations for the coastal commission in terms of the city representatives with Mayor Gary, Councilmember Preciado, Chula Vista, and Mayor Sanchez. Inside Mayor Gaston and Del Mar. So as I call your name, if you could just give the names who you are voting for.
It's all. Are we gonna vote on this late?
Chair can be a slate, whatever. Minimum of 3.
Oh, minimum of 3, okay. Well, we can vote on it that is place. Yeah, I'm good with that.
More than 3?
It's a minimum of 3.
Oh, minimum.
You can help them out with it if you like.
Well, I just, thank you for the nomination and consideration. I currently am the vice chair of the coastal commission. I obviously represent a coastal city. I've represented the coastal city for 6 years now. My training is in coastal conservation. I have a master's from Scripps and position of oceanography in marine biodiversity and conservation. I have been serving on the coastal commission now for 4 years. I was now Senator Cicadilla's alternate there. So I believe I'm the most qualified to represent San Diego Coast. And I think I've demonstrated by having always an open door policy on any of the issues impacting coastal cities. And I hope I can remember to her. Thank you.
Does anybody else want to speak to that? Mary Jo?
So, Paloma, I've always supported this, and I think it was doing a fantastic job on the Coastal Commission. The Coastal Commission is our final point of protection for coastal cities in so many ways. Our bluffs, our beaches are at risk. And In 2014, I became chair of Delmar's Signalized Technical Advisory Committee. Spent the next 4 years really understanding the impacts of climate change, the storms, the rain, the seas, assaulting all of our coastlines, inland and at the coast. All of our systems are tied together. Through that, I developed a real desire to run for city council. So it was Delmar's coast and the coast of our counties that ran to run for city council, and now our lagoons. So I bring that, and I bring the fact that I've been 22 years a professor of the Scripps Institution of Oceanography. That has given me colleagues and experiences that have been unbelievable in understanding our ocean systems and our physical property. So thank you.
Thank you. I support Mayor Aguirre. I added my name only to see whether these are alternate. I have served as a coastal commissioner. I've got the highest ratings when I was there. Also was able to serve as a vice chair. And I've been on the council for 25 years. And of course, throughout that time, I've been very much coastal has been my number one preference.
Okay, we'll do an old vote. Everybody in favor of the slate, say aye. Opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Right, that passes. Okay, we have a motion, a nomination for Jim Desmond. I'm going to nominate Joel Anderson. You,
I'd like to nominate Sarah.
Sarah? And any other nominations? Yeah. That we know of. Because I would also like to nominate Monica.
We're supposed to set 3.
Well,
It's at least 3.
At least 3. And then they will also send their. Oh, okay, since they're not here to speak. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Okay. All right. Okay. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for voting. Thanks for your comments. And let's get out of here.